So, good morning, good afternoon again, everyone, and for all those who just joined, welcome to the panel that we are hosting today here in US, where we are going to talk about COVID-related situation that we are all in today, and really going more deeper in terms of well-being, talking about resilience and leadership, and some of the related aspects here. So I'm really excited and looking forward to this discussion and conversation here. And it's our privilege and honor that we have two special guests who are joining us for our conversation today. Um, and of course, we'll take the time for the introduction. So for today, for those of you who don't know me, I'm one of the people managers here in US. And of course, what you can see here, we have a new name for our team. We are now called, Talent and Culture Business Partners. Our People Champion team has been renamed to Talent and Culture Business Partners. So together with me, I'm also very excited to introduce to you our newest member to the team, Donna Peffley, who joined around 2 months back in this very interesting times. But we've been working very hard for all the work that we're doing for Globant and for our people here. So Donna is going to be our main moderator and host for this session. So with this quick welcome, I'm going to pass it on to Donna to share more and about the session, about the panelists, and take it forward from here.
Great. Thank you very much, Samia. I'm excited to be here, and you're in for a real treat today. This is going to be a unique kind of panel because it's going to be more of a free-flowing conversation versus your more traditional panel. But we have two very inspiring panelists today. We have Andrea, oh my, I'm already off base. Andrea. And she is a professional certified coach. She holds a bachelor's degree in psychology with a concentration in organization leadership. She has more than 10 years of experience in business development. At the age of 26, she founded her first business venture, and 3 years later, she had turned it into an $8 million a year company. For the past 10 years, she's dedicated herself to learn about personal transformation, the humankind, and a mix of other elements of emotional intelligence, diversity, sustainability, and spirituality. Today, she is the founder and head coach of Bloom Coaching, which services a coaching firm which mission in the world is to help professionals reach a higher potential while maintaining quality of life that is fulfilling. Andrea is originally from Chile. Today she resides in Los Angeles with her husband and 2 boys and a cat named Mia. Welcome, Andrea.
Thank you. I'm sure my cat is going to be happy that you named
her. Yes. And then Delphi is a dedicated activist who designs education and social innovation journeys. She started an organization to address the needs of the community of professionals who consider their practice as the path of development, learning, and growth. This community works steadily towards the inner life of social organizations to generate practical, reflective, collaborative practices, thus creating conditions of conducive to life. Delphi works as a learning catalyst for Connection G Consulting. She also works designing and facilitating an evolutionary learning ecosystem with a team of colleagues. Her previous work was to design the content and train facilitators of learning communities in a school climate and emotional education program led by the provincial government of Buenos Aires for 2,000 public schools. Delphi believes that we can work as a community to become the community we want to see in the world. Delphi and her partner live in Buenos Aires. He is an American, she pointed out to me. She is an environmental activist, loves nature and sports. And so welcome to you, Delphi.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here.
Great. Very good. So, next up, just in sharing a little bit more about the agenda, as I shared with you, it's going to be a little different. We're going to have a centering exercise. And so, in order for us to all kind of feel and support one another, we are going to ask that you all turn your cameras on, please. And then our topics of conversation will include personal well-being, how to take care of yourself, leadership, how to lead others in a time of crisis, family relationships, how to stay in relationships. We'll have an opportunity to have Q&A at the end, so I encourage you to submit your questions via chat, or again, we'll open it up at the end, but we want you in the closing discussion to determine what are you walking away with and what are you going to do after you listen to this inspiring presentation. So with that, I will turn it over to Andrea.
Thank you, Donna. I'm going to take a deep breath after you. I think we all need it. Thank you so much for that. You sound wonderful with your headset, by the way. One of the things that I do with my clients all the time before we get started into a session is a centering exercise. It really helps you center and be present in the moment. I know for many of my clients, they come into my sessions with tons of things already in their head, and obviously tons of things ahead of themselves as well. So let's go ahead and do a quick centering exercise just to be fully present here. And again, this is not a space for you to be productive, for you to take action. It's really, Delfina and I are wanting to create a space for you guys to just relax and be. So if possible, I just want you to begin to feel comfortable in your body and just notice what's here now. And let's begin to kind of slow down time. I want you to take a deep breath in. Roll your shoulders back. And begin to notice. Notice your body, your neck, your shoulders. Notice what begins to shift as you become more aware of what's here now. And as you take another deep breath in, when you exhale, I want you to let go of the week that just passed. Just let it go. There's nothing more for you to do. And notice what it's like to just don't have it anymore. Another deep breath in. And let go of the day that just passed. And as you begin to get closer to the present, notice what's different here. Notice what's going on with you when you hear the noises of people maybe chiming in or out. One more deep breath in. And let go of the hour that just passed. Let it go. And notice again what's here now, what's shifted. This is a beautiful exercise to begin to be more present and closer to the here and the now. You can do this whenever you feel that you are bringing too much into a meeting or that you're all over the place. Notice what shifted from where we are now to 5 minutes ago. It's very powerful. I know for me, I'm more connected to my body. You guys are a brand new group for me. There's nervousness. We bring so much into the space. But now as we did this, I feel completely grounded. There's just something that just went away. And from this place of connectedness and being fully here, I want to bring Delfina in, and she's going to bring us in with this lead us to a beautiful moment to listen to a poem that she has for us.
So with this that Andrea leads, let's tune up into this poem that is called Fire by Judy Brown. And it says, "What makes a fire burn is a space between the logs, a breathing space. Too much of a good thing, too many logs, packed in too tight, can douse the flames almost as surely as a pail of water would. So building fires requires attention to the spaces in between, as much as the wood. When we are able to build open spaces in the same way we have learned to pile on the logs, then we can come to see how it is fuel and absence of the fuel together that makes fire possible. We only need to lay a log lightly from time to time. A fire grows simply because the space is there, with openings in which the flame that knows just how it wants to burn can find its way." With this poem and with this centering, this contemplative practice, the idea is to bring attention to the spaces in between. When we breathe, as Andrea was leading us to this meditation, we have two different poles, opposing poles. It's inhaling and exhaling. We need both to breathe.
I think that one of the intentions that Delfina and I had as we were coming together to lead this conversation and this space together was, how do we create space? We're so much in the action rather than in the being, and creating a space in which we can just be is really what fuels us and allows us to connect to something greater than ourselves. So that's the intention here today. It's not really you don't need to take notes. There's nothing for you to memorize, but just we really want to make a huge invitation for you to notice just what's here now, who are you being, and also as you step into your leadership roles within Globant, we want you to notice the difference between being driven by too much action and missing out on the part of being, and what is the cost of those two things. So let's begin the conversation by sharing where we are today, like what's here now. I think that's important. For me, I'm in LA. We've been in lockdown for I don't even know. Is it 3 months, 2.5 months probably? It's a new world. There's a lot of emotions that have arisen. I think I'm holding the paradox between the fear, the grief of what's no longer here, or things that have become absolute, and also on the other side, the hope for what can we create in this moment, or what is the opportunity within this crisis. And I think it's important as we step into a new way of being, of leading in the world, to recognize everything that is in the space. I know, Delfina, for you, you're in Argentina. I don't know what the picture looks like for you over there.
So I'm in Argentina, in Buenos Aires. I don't know if anyone had the chance to be here. We are usually, the community in Buenos Aires is we're really outside and enjoying kind of the company of each other. So we are in a very strict lockdown now, which is very opposite to who we are and how we express ourselves. So we have only the chance to go outside to buy groceries and come back. So no running outside, no any type of walking around the neighborhood or anything. So it's been quite a trip inside in a way. To connect with different things about ourselves and about being inside the house instead of doing many things, and then you find yourself with a lot of shadows and a lot of lights and a lot of things, which makes it very interesting at times, and makes you very anxious sometimes. So this is kind of the environment here. I don't know if it rings a bell to anyone.
Yeah, we'd love for you guys to share in the chat what's going on for you. What are you bringing into this conversation today?
Okay.
Perhaps as we continue the conversation more, we'll be bold to put something there in the chat.
Sure.
Of course. I think our first question, our first topic is personal well-being, and our first question is how we take care of ourselves. And as we were preparing for today with Andrea, we were talking about how we are in such a particular moment where it's very difficult to plan for the future, because we don't know. And it's not that we don't know, it's that no one knows. The president of Argentina doesn't know, and it's taken an approach towards the future. And then the president of the US doesn't know, and is taking an approach. So no one exactly knows how the future will look like. And that not knowing and that uncertainty and that process takes us oftentimes to places of emotional places that are kind of that makes us anxious, that makes us angst, that it's difficult to sustain for long periods of time. So we were talking about like connecting to our inner compass to try to understand the present moment and what we want to bring more in the present moment, and how that present moment will become our future in a way, because we're building here now what the future will look like. So what are we doing today makes a lot of sense. What do you think, Andrea?
Yeah, I love what you're saying. I think one of the biggest things is we're not able to project far from maybe a month or two. So being present, I think, is one of the things that we're being called to do. I know we've been hearing that, be present, the power of now, all of those trendy topics. And I think that today, being present and being in the moment is one of the things that can really help us be with each other, like be in the moment and make the most out of, and create from, I love what you said, is if you're in the moment, you begin to create your future. And it's very challenging to stay in the moment when you're in a place of fear. For me, when I start to think about all the things that could go wrong, all the things that can that have become like a huge challenge, it's very hard for me to be present. So there are some practices, daily practices, that really help me and my clients to be able to stay more centered. One of them is to be able to, I think, show gratitude is one of them. It's one of the most powerful ones. We all have the privilege to be here right now and be connecting with each other. And I know that that's not the same for a lot of people in our world. A lot of people in our world don't have a job, they're ill, they're taking care of a family member that is sick. So whenever you're feeling that the fear is kind of creeping up on you, being able to step back and say, what am I grateful for right now? What are 5 things that I am grateful for? That will immediately take you into a different emotion. And the emotion is what drives the action. For me, gratitude is obviously one of the most important practices.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to add what, like, centering and then contemplative practices helps a lot to make us fully present in the moment right now, you know, and centering us in what we do have, because there's many things that we cannot respond about tomorrow, but there's things that we can, like, we have answers of the now, and the now is these things I don't know, these things I do know, and centering ourselves within us in the things that we appreciate of our everyday life of today is very, very powerful. I was thinking about contemplative practices, about creating habits that kind of sustain that energy, that good energy or positive emotions that kind of can shift your day from being a very not like a terrible day to a good one, you know, or at least one day that you can navigate. And it's just, you don't want to, I don't know, you want to connect with others. So I was thinking about meditation. I was thinking about gratitude journal. I was thinking about even like in nutritious habits, what are you eating that makes sense for you today?
Yeah, that is so important. It's important for resilience to be able to take care of ourselves in you know, spiritually, physically, and emotionally. So making sure that we are taking care of what we eat is so important. I know for me, whenever I've had a very heavy day, having a glass of wine or 2 or 3 is usually what helps. And but hey, you know what? That's not the best thing to do, right? I mean, we don't want to get into unhealthy habits in order to sustain ourselves. I think the invitation is really to be able to have that self-management and consciousness and say, I need to be able to be here, right? Be present. And for me, the best thing to do is to be able to take care of myself first. So what are the things that can help me, you know, feel good? And I love what you said about how do I sustain the positive energy, because exercising is a way of sustaining the positive energy. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I exercise, I do yoga, I take a walk at the park or in nature, it automatically connects me to something positive. So it allows me to sustain that. So I'd love to hear from the people that are here today. I know we have 55 participants. What sustains your positive energy? What are some of your rituals or daily practices that, you know, keep you going in a positive way?
And how can we have more of those? Like, if we know that we can live it like today and this is what it counts, then how do I make those moments more sustainable, more strong than the other moments? And I want to bring something that makes a lot of sense, and it's very difficult to do sometimes, and especially in these moments where we get a lot of information from the outside world and it can be very, very overwhelming. Like putting yourself or schedule, like organize yourself and make a schedule of, I'm going to sustain this now. I'm going to put my attention towards this meeting now. And then I'm going to shift my attention and it's going to be my son or my daughter or something else. But being clear that that's where you're going to put your presence and your being in that moment, and not, I'm going to do this and that and everything at the same time, because that is overwhelming and takes kind of the energy out of you, you know?
Yeah. I think that that's a great segue to our next topic, which is leadership. How do we lead others in a time of crisis?
Hey, Andrea,
And
on that point, we have some really lovely comments on the chat
great.
that our folks have put forward. So I think it's good to take a look here. Folks are mentioning about rituals like journaling, exercise, of course, regular video chats with friends and family. Of course, that's something I do a lot as well, especially with family. In these times, we're so concerned, being far from, each other. Um, like the idea of thinking of 5 things you're grateful for, and I'm going to start doing that every day. And I'm taking the time to cook more, which is
Oh yeah.
Hey.
so fun. I can imagine that. And because I have more time and small, but I enjoy it. It's a great way to turn my brain off from work and focus on something else.
Yeah, yeah. That's I love that, the cooking. I think that I want to challenge you guys to make a special dish this week, something that you've never done before. The creative juices that happen when we are challenged with something new, it brings like fresh air to some of the stagnant, I think, a stagnant way that can become whenever our days don't end at a certain time, like before. Like for me, sometimes it's like, what day of the week is it? Is it Saturday? Is it Tuesday? So bringing something new can really begin to move that energy.
Completely.
All right, let's talk about leadership. How to lead others in a time of crisis. Geez, we have ourselves, then we have to lead others, right? We have to care for others. Sometimes it's not easy, And for me, what happens whenever I am in fear, it's very challenging for me to lead in a way that is inclusive. I can tell when my saboteur is the one leading. And when my saboteur shows up, is usually the one that wants to fix it all, the ones that knows it all, the one that wants to be more prescriptive and tell you exactly what needs to be done. And what happens with that is that I am shutting down to whoever else is on the other side. There is no two-way anymore. So and that's definitely a problem, because it creates a wall between myself and the person or the team that I am looking to lead. It's very important to understand when your saboteur is present. So whenever you're going into a meeting or sending an email, I think it's important to double check with yourself and say, what is my intention here, and where is my listening? Am I just listening in level 1, which is what I want, what I need, what I think that should be done? Or am I listening in level 2, which is putting my attention into the other person? Sometimes, we are in a time of crisis, things are happening very fast. We're having to adapt very fast, and we forget that there's a human being on the other side. So one of the things that I want to invite you to do is begin to listen in level 2, and what that means, the level 2, is who is on the other side? What does she or he need before, and begin to get curious before you go and impose your agenda. Also notice what the space needs. Sometimes we have an agenda and we need to get something done. If we're very task-oriented type of leadership, we might miss that what the space needs, it needs to just release. Maybe the space needs to just name the sadness, the anger, whatever it is, the frustration. So as a leader, I feel that being able to listen in the different levels is one of the things that can really help you lead in a more effective way during that type of crisis. And at the end, for me, I'm all about fulfillment. I want you to get things done. I want you to be successful. and I want you to be fulfilled. So if you're getting things done, but there's no sense of fulfillment at the end of the day, then, that's when I feel we begin to become more isolated. I know, Delfina, you have a lot of value also to offer in regards to our different levels of listening.
I was thinking, as you were saying, as you were talking about the levels of listening, is like how we hold space for ourselves and others. And I can connect this to the poem of that space that we need in order to emerge, and also if we are working with a team, in order the other to emerge. And in these uncertain times where we feel a lot of pressure in many ways, like holding that space is very important. Because if we don't hold that space, then how are we really engaging with others and not with the knowledge that we already have within ourselves, And connecting with that and holding the space is, I love to work with questions. I feel like questions open up words.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a leader that really wants to understand your team and the strengths that they have, and also yourself and the strengths that you have, then holding that space and creating that space from those listening levels is really important. So what are the questions that I need to pose or bring more in this group, in this team, in order to understand it more and see if I'm missing something? There is the psychologist Young talks about 4 ways of knowing. And he says, thinking is one of the ways that we know the most. Is like the way that we engage, and we feel comfortable today with using it all the time. But he says we have the capacities of feeling, and our emotions are information about the environment, about the people that we are with. We have the capacity of sensing. So when we get into a room and we sense what is happening, we have that instant connection of seeing the whole and kind of understanding how or what is happening without even using words. That's very powerful. And then we have our own intuition, which is very, very important because it gives us information about future possibilities that are there to emerge. And if we connect with these capacities that we have as human beings, and not only with our thinking, then we are creating space for others and ourselves, and to bring more about things that is not only about our intellectual capacities, but about the environment. And in moments of this transition and anxiety and difficulties to connect, then these other capacities really bring information that is worthwhile thinking about it and kind of understanding more. So I feel like that's an invitation for all of us to explore those capacities that we do have as humans.
Yeah, I love that you're bringing up the intuition. As we were preparing for this, I remember you mentioned, the invitation that you love to make for people, Delfina, for them to be really in the question of what do I truly want, rather than doing, but stopping and really tapping into that inner compass that you were talking about and asking yourself, what do I truly want today? Like what's important for me? When we take care of ourselves first, it's much easier to take care of others in a good way, right? In a healthy way. I love the collaboration also that it's open, that opens up when we are more in the curiosity and questions. One of the things that really helps when there's a challenge, when your team doesn't know how to solve a problem, if you're leading a team, you don't have to have the answer on your own. This is a time in which collaboration is being asked to step up more than ever. So bringing the whole team into maybe like a brainstorm session, it's something that can really higher the level of confidence in your team, instead of shutting them down. So if there's a challenge, if there's something new, a new idea that you guys need to work on, bring everybody in. Do a round table in which everybody gets to pitch in. That's a great way of getting everybody engaged and making sure that their level of confidence is up. Nobody wants to feel that, I have no say in this. So for me, that's very important, and have an action plan to celebrate the small wins. We have a lot of challenges, and most of the time, like in these days, a lot of things don't go well as we plan. Make sure that you are highlighting the team members that are actually having a positive impact. Even if it's a tiny, small thing, highlight it. Because the more we highlight the positive, that's more positive energy comes to us. Have a plan to celebrate, what went well this week, rather than focus too much on what's not working.
Yeah, and I feel what you are saying also connects to our third conversation aspect, and that's the home and family. And the question that we have and we were thinking about, it's about how to stay in relationship. And that ties very much to what you were saying, is like sometimes, like especially in these moments, we don't know. And saying we don't know, we need help, engaging with the other in that sense brings a sense of vulnerability, but in such a way that is very powerful, because it's engaging with others and thinking together about ways of going around this, of what is happening, and creating more like creative processes that are more in touch with what makes us more human, which is the relationships that we hold, the capacities that we bring, and the strengths that we bring into a group and into our families and into our home.
Yeah, vulnerability is key here. I mean, as the head of your household, sometimes we want to show our kids or our husband or our partners that everything is going perfect, and we want to show up in that way. And for us to be able to be in relationship and empower others, our kids, our partners, is to be vulnerable and really say, you know what, I'm just having a shitty day today. I'm sorry for my French, but I don't know how else to say it. Just things are just really not working out for me. I'm not available. Like, I can just give me some time. That vulnerability, or asking for help. I think we create, and again, it's the saboteur usually the one that kicks in when we want things to continue to kind of move forward, and we don't want to acknowledge the reality of the situation. So sharing with our kids and with the people that are close to us what's real, it's a way for us to be in relationship with them, rather than being away from each other. Let's be with each other in the uncomfortable conversations as well. I have teenagers at home, okay? And I'm the kind of mom that wants to do it all for them. And I have a hard time asking them to step up to the game, because I want to care for them. And that doesn't always work for me, because at the end of the day, I end up frustrated, I end up tired, and I don't have time for me. And that bleeds into my work. So being vulnerable and saying, hey, I need your help here. I can't do it all. It's a way, I think, of us to begin to be more real and more human with the people that we love.
Also, maybe I was thinking, bring in the question of what does it work for us right now, which I think is very powerful, because there's no rituals. Like, we are not leaving the house to work elsewhere, so we can say like, I'm going to leave this now here, and then I can be myself in another place and just engage with that, and then come back and have my time to think, and then come back and settle this out, you know. Now it's all the time, or at least in Argentina, it's all the time. Like, there's no in-betweens, you know, there's no transitions, there's no, we are here and we see each other all the time. And maybe I'm in the main room and someone else is in the, you know, in one of the bedrooms and stuff like that. And sharing spaces, not having that transitions is very intense, and there's conversations to have all the time. So what does it work for us right now? How can we engage with ourselves, knowing that we're going to have bad moments, that I do want to choke you sometimes, but hey, I love you as well, you know, like those things. And being natural and having some humor into, like, bringing humor into it. It's like, it is quite dramatic what is happening, but also we can have good like some laughs about it, about how we engage now that we see each other, that I'm in my pajamas most of the time, or things like that, you know. It's like kind of going with the flow and knowing that we're humans, and cutting some slack, and being like compassionate with myself and with others, and engaging in that with our most human qualities, you know.
I love that. Yes. I'm gonna share with you a quick tip that really works in regards to now that we're working from home and we wake up and it doesn't seem like the day ever ends. I think I've been in an eternal Monday. So one of the things that works is to set up 50 minutes of time to work. Like, instead of working for 2 to 3 hours, set up 50 minutes, talk to your loved ones, and say, you know what, I'm going to be busy for 50 minutes. I'm going to hustle. I'm going to get through emails. I'm going to get things done. After I'm done with these 50 minutes, we can go for a walk, or you can go and play with the kids. That's a way of negotiating. At least they know that you are, because they might see you're there, so now you're more available. So that's another way that you can begin to, I guess, create new agreements on how you can work from home and have space for, you know, for everything else. The other thing I remember you mentioned, Delfina, is we're in front of a screen for so long, and you know, and here we are creating a space, and we are again in front of a screen. I really want to invite you guys to, after this session, you guys go for a walk in nature. Just shake it off. Nothing is gonna break. There's nothing that it's not gonna get handled that is not that important. And then come back. Having those breaks away from the screen can really, really boost up your energy. And the most important thing, you can come back with a different perspective sometimes. Don't answer that email if you're not feeling in the best place. Go for the walk, and you'll see that when you come back, the answer is quite different, and hopefully, you know, in better relationship. Yeah. I want to be mindful of the time. It's 10:47. I know we had set some time aside for questions and answers. We've talked a lot. We wanted to do it more conversational, but there's so many people, you know, that attended that it doesn't allow for that. So Donna and Samia, I'd love to open up for some questions right now and see if we can hear the voices of our participants.
Yes, please. Before we do so, I wanted to acknowledge Miles' comment. I love that when he says that we're in the same ocean, but not everybody's got the same boat. So we're all experiencing COVID, and it's causing, you know, different challenges for different people. But you definitely have provided a lot of good information for us. But what an opportunity we can take, that this is a time for all of us to kind of pause and figure things out, which we haven't been able to do when we were in our busy world in the old normal. So anyway, thank you very much for sharing with us. And if anybody does have any direct comments or questions, please do so now.
I really like what Miles brought, because that is true, and we are living this quarantine or lockdown situation in very different ways. Like, I'm so happy that I have like a very, very small garden, but at least I can plant my plants and I can water them and I can nurture them as I can do. And some people don't have that, and I do have a job, and that is sustaining me right now, and some other people don't have that. So that's why what we were thinking with Andrea, and she brought at the beginning, is being grateful for what you have and where you are, and how you can show that that appreciation and maybe some kindness to others. One of the things that we do here is that we organize with the neighbors, and if anyone needs anything and they couldn't go to a shop or the groceries or anything, we are there for them. So we go and we buy those things, and we especially for people that are older. Yeah,
That's great. Yes, I love that. I'd love to hear anybody else.
So
we left them speechless.
Oh. So maybe how do you explain to little ones what's happening? They
That's
can't play with their friends anymore. They have to stay inside. Or how do you help little ones understand what's going on?
Yeah, and also being true to what we are feeling as well, and what is happening within us as well, like the fact of not knowing. I don't know if Andrea, do you have any? I have what comes to mind is kids are really perceptive, so they know when there's something wrong, or when you're not being honest. It's not about communicating, oh, I'm freaking out because I don't know anything that is going to happen, and I don't know about our future, and I'm worried, and all of these things. But yes, touching upon this vulnerability factor, that is, I don't know. Like, I know that we're going to be together. I know that today we are safe and we love each other, and I'm sure this is going to pass. And that's the information. I think children need to feel very much connected with their parents, especially in moments of uncertainty, and when they perceive you that you are afraid, that you don't know, that you are uncertain.
Yeah, I think it's good to give it a voice to however you're feeling. They'll understand, because they're still feeling it. So just saying it in a way that they feel included in what's happening in the space. But there's a very important thing that is coming up for me, and it's related to the boat metaphor that somebody just posted, like Donna, that you mentioned, that we're all in the same ocean, but we don't have the same kind of, yeah. There's something very important about that, because yes, and if you're here and you're feeling that things are a little bit too overwhelmed, what I know to be true is that when we're feeling too anxious, too stressed, it's not easy to open up. It's not easy to reach out. We kind of go into this way of thinking that whatever is going on is because there's something wrong with me. There's something that I might have, be doing wrong. The moment you open up and you connect with another human, that's the moment in which everything, in a very magical way, allows the space for you to begin to heal and begin to process whatever it is that it's in here. So if you came to this conversation today and you're feeling anxious, you're feeling stressed, I want to make a huge invitation for you to connect with the people and the support that is available for you at Globant. Sometimes, the need to perform pushes us to our limits, and that's not healthy. And what I know to be true is that the people from People and Culture and Leadership, they're creating these spaces because they want the opposite. They want you to feel inspired and feel supported. So I just wanted to name that. Please, Soumya, Donna, you representing obviously the company, if you can give a little bit of voice to that, I think that will be very helpful.
Absolutely. Thank you, Andrea. And this is something, the more I can say, I still feel like, I would want this voice and word to spread more beyond this participants, that we all acknowledge these are difficult times and difficult in different ways for each one of us. And these are just small efforts to bring us into some conversations and thinking to help open our mind. But we know that each one of us need a lot more. So, feel free, please feel free to, come to People Team, come to me, Donna, Miles, Jordan, August, and all of us People Team that we are here. We are here to support, and we are here to just talk and connect in these times. And of course, Andrew and Cam from TDC side, we as a People and TDC, team, we just want to make sure that, we are being kind to each other, we are supporting each other, and just caring for each other. I think if we can do these fundamental things, I think the bigger problems, will continue and will solve, and that will continue business as usual. But I think it's more how we connect to each other as humans. And we are a big family here at Globant, and so I would want that we keep that in mind and make the most that we can from whoever you feel comfortable with to just reach out and connect.
That's great. I love what you said. If we take care of the space, the particles will be taken care of. Yeah. Thank you.
It's been lovely, and hopefully everyone will take away something. I encourage you to jot some things down as to the things that you want to do during this time and utilize it. Again, we have yoga. We also have the mindfulness sessions with Magali, and a lot of different opportunities for us to get into to that space where we can be mindful. So thank you again, and thank you, Delphina and Andrea. It was lovely having you, and you have been an inspiration. So thank you.
Our
Thank
pleasure.
you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Really
It was wonderful.
Very
Okay.
grateful for you, Andrea and Delphi, for sharing your wisdom with us. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Great.
No, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
All the
Bye.
participants as well.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Mhm.